Hi everybody, it is Julie from Pages and Pens, and today I am here with a discussion video about creativity. Let's jump right into it. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a different video. I don't think I've ever sat down and done like a general discussion video. I'm going to have a newsletter on this coming up soon too with my Quills and Keys newsletter. So if you are interested about this topic or about creativity in general, I guess check out that newsletter. I will have the website listed down below where you can sign up for it. But today I just want to talk to you about creativity and the creative well and whether or not it's inexhaustible or whether or not you run out of that creativity. I've seen a lot of people lately on BookTube and just in my general life talking about their creative well being done, about burnout, about our fear and anxiety as content creators to always keep things new and exciting and to not get bored with what we're doing. And I realized recently that I was having a little bit of creative burnout as well, and maybe not in the way that you think. So I wanted to discuss creativity, our creative well, as in how much creativity we have to pull from and how our daily life can affect that creative well. And I think that this is applicable to my AuthorTube portion of my channel, to the BookTube portion of my channel, to those who are writing, reading, creating content, everything. And I wanted to basically start off with a conversation I had with some friends actually yesterday when I was visiting with them for lunch. We were discussing the things that we do for work and then the things that we want to do in our free time, and how the parts of our brain that we use for work, when they're somewhat related to what we do in our free time or we want to do in our free time, how we can get burnt out on it and not be able to transition our brains between what we do for work to what we want to do creatively. So for example, one of the people that I was talking to is a graphic designer. They also like to do art in their free time, but taking a creative mind that paints and draws and does stuff online or on a computer and transitioning that to going and taking a canvas and doing that in their free time, it felt workish, you know, like it was too hard for them to mesh the two things and still be able to enjoy that as a recreation when it felt so linked to work. And I realized in myself something that was kind of going on for me. So I didn't have a video up on Friday. I don't have one up on Monday this week. And I realized that I felt like I didn't want to make videos. And I kind of use that as a reason. Like, I just am not feeling it. I don't want to sit down. I don't want to film. And that wasn't true. I do want to film and I do want to sit down and I do feel like there's a whole bunch that I want to say and a whole bunch that I want to talk about. But I realized that my creative well was really, really focused on editing my book. And right now, what I want to do most is get my book ready for beta readers. And I am really, really feeling inspired to work on my own book. So when I sat down to read or I sat down to film or do things that were BookTube related, it felt like a chore because I was feeling creatively pulled towards my book and something else that I was creating. And I do think that there's creative energies and creative wells. So me writing and me editing and me working on that is a different kind of creative than creating content here on BookTube and editing and uploading this. With filming, editing, uploading comes comments. You guys know I love responding to comments. And for me, the process of sitting down to film, edit, upload, know that I'm going to have comments to answer because you guys are amazing and you always give me feedback. All of that felt like a distraction from a different part of my creative process that I was feeling really, really pulled to right now. I think I misunderstood it as reading burnout or filming burnout, and it wasn't. I'm just feeling creatively pulled to something else right now. And it brought me back, and this discussion I had with friends the other day, it brought me back to remembering what it was like for me when I had the Indie Chicks, when I had my online magazine. As editor-in-chief over there, I had 300 writers that I was working with. I had interns that I was monitoring. I had a website that I was running. I had content that I was editing and uploading and formatting. And I was writing my own content for print or for online publication. In the process of reading articles, editing articles, writing my own articles, I, for 3.5, 4 years, I didn't read a single book for pleasure. I did no recreational reading because my job was reading. My job was reading and editing. And for me, when I had downtime, when I had free time, the last thing I wanted to do was read more. Not because I don't love reading. I love reading. And I think it's one of the reasons I dove so hard into reading and BookTube when that magazine closed down, was because now that that wasn't a daily part of my life, once I mourned that that wasn't a part of my daily life anymore, I realized I could go back to recreationally reading, to like reading for pleasure instead of reading for work. But my brain could not switch from reading to edit and reading to analyze whether or not an article fit our voice to reading for pleasure. The last thing I wanted to do was sit down and read. Also, similarly, because I was writing all these structured articles and I was doing guest posting and all of this and really, really heavy in the blog and online magazine world, the last thing I wanted to do was write. The most I could write was the flash fiction that then turned into Shoot Down the Wendy Bird. And for years, large writing, like I'm doing now, I couldn't dedicate myself to. I would do these really, really short snippets and practices and prompts that turned into flash fiction because that's all I could do creatively when I was being used creatively somewhere else so much. A huge part of my identity is being a reader and being a writer. To not be able to do those things for fun, for enjoyment, for myself as a creative outlet, because it was too closely linked to what I was doing for work, was really difficult for me, and I didn't realize how much I missed it until I was able to revisit it. I guess the point is that you can be infinitely creative, and you can be incredibly self-driven and incredibly motivated, which I consider myself to be all of those things, and still feel worn thin on things if you're using parts of those for a career or for some kind of other purpose. It wasn't a lack of love of reading. It wasn't a lack of love of writing. It wasn't a lack of desire to do either of those things that kept me from doing it for so long. It was that creatively that well was dry. So instead of doing those things, I cross-stitched, I did adult coloring books, I did other creative things because I have a very creative driven mind, but I couldn't do anything that related to writing or reading. When I see people saying that they're burnt out or that they don't feel like they've got creative video ideas or that they're worried that their lack of creativity on BookTube in terms of content is going to lead to them not growing, etc. I just want this to be a gentle reminder that I don't think your creative well is ever going to run dry, but I do think that we can get ourselves into situations where our creativity is stifled by the other things that we do in life. So if you are reading for school, sometimes it's really, really hard to read for school and then turn around and read for pleasure. You've done a lot of reading. You might just be done with it for a little bit, you know, and it's okay to take that break. And for me, if I'm feeling pulled and driven and motivated to finish this book and finish these edits and get it out into your hands, and if that's where my passion lies right now, then it's okay to not be putting out 3 videos a week if that's going to detract from where my passion is right now. It doesn't mean I'm any less passionate about BookTube. It doesn't mean I'm any less passionate about putting out quality content or reading. I've been feeling personally really bad about myself because I haven't been reading that much. I'm participating in Witchathon currently as I'm filming this, and I only have 2 days left, and I've only finished 1 book, and it's a graphic novel. I am not reading right now because it's not where my passion lies, and I've felt like a failure through the readathon. I felt like I was doing myself a disservice and the readathon and you guys for a wrap-up at the end of the month a disservice by not reading more. But it's okay. And I know that we have conversations here about you don't have to read X amount of books, you don't have to participate in readathons, you don't have to XYZ. You don't have to do anything. But for me personally, I am used to being able to juggle a whole bunch of stuff and do it to a level that I'm happy with. And right now, there's a couple things I'm not doing to a level that I'm happy with. But I'm realizing why, and I think if you identify why, it's not so bad to be this passionate about a book that I'm writing, that I'm not as passionate about reading books that other people have written. That's okay. It's okay to not want to sit and film and edit and upload and respond to comments right this moment because I'm in the middle of working on something really important to me. And I know you guys get that, but I think it's something that as content creators, because a lot of my bookish friends here are content creators, and also you guys as viewers who don't create content, to just acknowledge in yourself and in the people that you are supporting, because I know as somebody who also consumes a lot of content that I get bummed out when I don't see somebody in my feed for a while, and I wonder where they've gone, and I wonder why they're not creating content. But there's such a multitude of reasons to step back and take that break, and it has nothing to do with not wanting to be a part of the community or not wanting to be engaged. Your ability to come up with great content and great ideas for videos to continue to push what this community means and what this community can be, it has nothing to do with your, at least for me personally, the way that I see it, it could very well have nothing to do with your interest levels or your lack of creativity. You might not be coming up with great creative content right now that's aside from wrap-ups and TBRs and tag videos, and that's perfectly freaking okay. Do you lead a creative life in other ways? You know, like your well is not going to run dry, but you can be resourcing that well for other things. And it's all right that they're not here right now. You don't have to be doing something revolutionary here to still be valid and important and respected in the BookTube community. It's amazing when people come up with new ideas and new videos and new concepts and new trends on BookTube. That's how we keep growing. It's how we stay relevant. It's how we're gaining more attention. It's how we're supporting one another. And I think that's phenomenal. But it's also okay if your creative well is focused on something else right now. So just be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with the content creators that you're supporting. Be gentle with the community in general when it comes to that. It hurts my heart when I see friends of mine saying that they're unhappy with their content, unhappy with their channel, feeling burnt out, needing to step back. All of those things are incredibly valid and fine, but I don't ever want people to think that your lack of original video ideas here mean that your voice is not valid here, because it still is. That's just like my little take away from my weekend and my talking with people, is that your creative well is still there. Your resources are there. You're not going to run out of creativity. You're not going to run out of things to do or things to talk about, but it's perfectly okay if you're not using that creative well right now for BookTube or for video content. It's okay if you're using it for other aspects of your life. I'm going to go continue to focus on where my creative energy is pulling me right now, and just know that wherever your creative well is being focused right now, you're valid. It's fine. It's okay. You don't have to be the next, original content creator or the next original idea maker. When you start to think negatively about yourself and your creative abilities when it comes to content, think about the other things that you do in your life that are creative, because I guarantee you there's something else. If you're here doing this, then you're probably creatively using your mind in other places too. And if you're using it for school, or you're using it for work, or you're using it in other areas, it's all right that sometimes here you feel a little bit spread thin. Like you're still utilizing these abilities and your talents other places too. And that's it for this little chatty video. So thanks for listening to my little TED Talk about creativity. And if you liked this, do give me a big thumbs up. Click subscribe. Make sure to check out that newsletter at quillsandkeys.com. And I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, guys.